If you're receiving Social Security or planning to retire in the next decade, what I'm about to tell you could dramatically change your financial future. The Social Security Administration just announced some major updates that could either boost your benefits or leave you with significantly less money than expected. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the newly proposed benefit increases that could start as early as 2026, explain why Social Security's insolvency date just moved up by an entire year, and reveal the specific changes coming this fall that every beneficiary needs to know about. Plus, I'll share the controversial solutions lawmakers are debating right now that could directly impact your retirement income. Welcome to Financial Area, where we cut through the noise to bring you the financial updates that matter most to your wallet. If this information helps you stay ahead of these changes, hit that like button and subscribe for more essential financial updates delivered straight to you. Now let's dive into what's happening with Social Security, and I have to warn you, some of this news is concerning, but there are also some positive developments you need to know about. First, let's talk about the potential good news. Lawmakers are currently pushing for significant benefit increases that could take effect as early as 2026. Now, this is completely separate from the annual cost of living adjustments that Social Security recipients already receive. These COLA increases happen automatically each year based on inflation. But what we're talking about here is additional legislation specifically designed to boost benefits beyond those standard adjustments. The momentum behind this push is real. With millions of Americans struggling to make ends meet on current Social Security payments, there's growing bipartisan support for meaningful benefit increases. The exact amount hasn't been finalized. Early discussions suggest these could be substantial increases that would provide real relief to recipients. The key thing to understand is that this isn't just political posturing. There's actual legislative movement happening right now. But here's what you need to prepare for immediately. Starting this fall in 2025, Social Security is making a major operational change that will affect every single beneficiary who still receives paper checks. The administration is completely eliminating paper checks and transitioning to 100% electronic payments. If you're currently receiving a paper check in the mail, you need to act now to set up direct deposit or get a Direct Express debit card. This change isn't just about convenience. It's about cost savings. Processing and mailing millions of paper checks cost the Social Security Administration tens of millions of dollars annually. By going fully electronic, they're reducing administrative costs, which helps preserve more money for actual benefits. The transition also reduces the risk of lost or stolen checks and ensures you get your money faster and more reliably. Along with this payment change, the Social Security Administration is also upgrading their online services. Starting in mid-July, the My Social Security portal will offer true 24/7 access to your account. This means you can check your benefit information, update your personal details, and access important documents any time of day or night. Previously, the system had regular maintenance windows that limited access, but those restrictions are being eliminated to provide better customer service. Now, here's where things get concerning. The Social Security Administration has officially moved up the projected insolvency date from 2035 to 2034. That's an entire year earlier than previous projections, and this change didn't happen in a vacuum. There are specific reasons behind this acceleration that every American needs to understand. The primary driver is simple mathematics. More people are claiming benefits while fewer workers are contributing to the system relative to the number of recipients. The baby boomer generation, the largest generation in American history, is now fully in their retirement years. Every day, approximately 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 and become eligible for Social Security benefits. This massive wave of retirements is putting unprecedented strain on the trust fund. But it's not just about demographics. The amount being paid out in benefits is also increasing. Between the regular COLA adjustments and the growing number of recipients, the total monthly outflow from Social Security has reached record levels. When you combine more recipients with higher individual benefit amounts, you get a mathematical problem that's accelerating faster than anyone anticipated just a few years ago. The situation is being made worse by recent tax policy decisions. The continuation and potential expansion of tax cuts through legislation like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act means less revenue is flowing into the federal government. Since Social Security is funded through payroll taxes and general revenue, reduced tax collections directly impact the program's financial stability. When the government collects less in taxes overall, it has less available to support Social Security when needed. This creates a perfect storm. More money going out in benefits, fewer workers contributing per retiree, and less government revenue available to supplement the trust fund. The worker-to-beneficiary ratio, which was about 16 workers supporting each retiree when Social Security began, is now down to approximately 2.8 workers per beneficiary. This ratio will continue to decline as more boomers retire and birth rates remain relatively low. So what happens when we reach 2034? It doesn't mean Social Security disappears, but it does mean that without intervention, benefits would be automatically cut by approximately 20% to 25%. The trust fund would be depleted, and ongoing benefits would be limited to what current payroll taxes can support. For someone receiving $2,000 per month today, that could mean a reduction to $1,500 to $1,600 per month. Lawmakers understand the severity of this situation, which is why there's intense debate about potential solutions. However, every solution being discussed involves trade-offs that will impact different groups of Americans in different ways. One of the most frequently discussed options is raising the full retirement age. Currently, the full retirement age is 67 for people born in 1960 or later. Some proposals suggest gradually increasing this to 68 or even 69 over the coming decades. The logic is straightforward. If people work longer, they contribute more to the system and draw benefits for fewer years. However, this solution disproportionately affects people in physically demanding jobs who may not be able to work into their late 60s. Another option being debated is increasing Social Security tax rates. Right now, both employees and employers pay 6.2% of wages up to a certain income cap for Social Security taxes. Some lawmakers propose increasing this rate to 6.5% or 7%, which would generate additional revenue, but also reduce take-home pay for every working American. Alternatively, some suggest removing or raising the income cap on Social Security taxes, which currently stops at around $116,200 in earnings. There's also discussion about changing how cost of living adjustments are calculated. Currently, COLA is based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners. Some economists argue that switching to a different inflation measure that grows more slowly would reduce long-term benefit costs. However, this could leave retirees falling behind against the actual cost of living over time. Perhaps the most creative solution being proposed involves creating an additional funding mechanism through what some lawmakers are calling an escrow account system. This would involve setting aside taxpayer dollars in a special account that would be invested and tied to the performance of the U.S. economy. The returns on these investments would then be used to supplement the Social Security Trust Fund. The theory is that by investing these funds in economic growth rather than just government bonds, the returns could be higher, providing more money to support Social Security benefits. However, this approach also introduces market risk that doesn't currently exist in the Social Security system. If the economy performs poorly, this backup funding could also be at risk. Some lawmakers are also exploring the possibility of dedicating specific revenue sources exclusively to Social Security. This might include things like carbon taxes, financial transaction taxes, or other new revenue streams that would flow directly into the trust fund rather than general government revenue. So what does all of this mean for your retirement planning? First, if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits, make sure you're prepared for the electronic payment transition this fall. Set up direct deposit or get your Direct Express card now to avoid any disrupt. Ion in your payments. Second, if you're planning to retire in the next decade, pay close attention to the legislative developments around benefit increases. While the 2026 increases aren't guaranteed, the political momentum suggests something significant could happen. However, don't base your entire retirement plan on these potential increases until they're actually signed into law. Third, and this is crucial, if you're more than 10 years away from retirement, you need to plan for the possibility that Social Security benefits might be reduced or the retirement age might be increased. This doesn't mean Social Security will disappear, but it does mean the program might look different when you're ready to claim benefits. The most important thing you can do is stay informed about these developments. The solutions being debated now will likely be implemented gradually over several years, giving people time to adjust their plans. However, the earlier you start planning for potential changes, the better positioned you'll be, regardless of what happens. The reality is that Social Security has faced funding challenges before, and has always found solutions. The 2034 deadline creates urgency, but it also creates political pressure to act. With millions of Americans depending on these benefits and millions more planning to claim them, lawmakers understand that failure to address this issue would have massive political consequences. Keep watching Financial Area for updates on these developments as they unfold. The next few years will be critical for determining what Social Security looks like for current and future retirees. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any important updates that could affect your financial future. Remember, knowledge is your best defense against uncertainty. By staying informed about these changes and planning accordingly, you can navigate whatever adjustments come to Social Security and still build a secure retirement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.